From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Jason White. Hundreds of First Nations leaders have gathered in the Ottawa area to meet with the Prime Minister and cabinet ministers. The closed-door meeting was promised last month after chiefs said their rights were not respected by the rush to push the government's major projects legislation through Parliament. Assembly of First Nations National Chief Cindy Woodhouse-Nepenak says the Prime Minister needs to take their request seriously.
I think he's got to come up with some commitments, firm commitments, hopefully by the end of this day and in the weeks ahead, and to make sure that there's no big budget cuts.
Some First Nations leaders walked out of the meeting in frustration, with one Quebec chief calling the meeting a facade. Manitoba says it has concluded the search of a Winnipeg area landfill for the remains of two murdered First Nations women. The province was searching the Prairie Green landfill for the remains of Morgan Harris and Mercedes Myron, killed in 2022. Some remains of the women were found at the site in February. The province says a search will soon begin at a different landfill for the remains of Ashley Shingoose, known during her killer's trial as Buffalo Woman. An independent candidate in a rural Alberta by-election has stopped door-knocking because of death threats. Sarah Spanier attributes the threats to her advocacy for transgender people. She's one of almost 80 candidates running in Battle River Crowfoot, including Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. The Bank of Canada and other federal crown corporations will join departments tightening their belts. A spokesperson for the central bank confirms it will align with the government's directive to cut spending by 15% over the next 3 years. A Treasury Board spokesperson confirms most crown corporations and other federally funded institutions are on cost-cutting missions. The federal government is offering Canadian oil and gas drillers some counter-tariff reprieve on the vast amounts of sand they import from the U.S. The sand is used in fracking to help free resources trapped in hard-to-access shale formations deep underground. Gurpreet Lail is president and CEO of Oilfield Services Industry Group and Serva.
The retaliatory tariffs were going to end up adding approximately $275 million per year in cost to energy companies. And service, supply, and manufacturing companies, we work on really lean, tight budgets, and that would have been a huge blow. Canadian drillers get the lion's share of the sand they need from Wisconsin.
When you're all over him, I hope you're all over me. I got a king-size bed, just missing a queen.
Breakout country singer Josh Ross and American Idol star Cameron Whitcomb are leading the nominations at this year's Canadian Country Music Association Awards. Both musicians picked up 6 nods each. The Burlington, Ontario native Ross already has 4 CCMA trophies on his mantle, and he led the winners at last year's celebration. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, Week 7 of the CFL season gets underway tonight in Montreal, where the Alouettes host the Toronto Argonauts. Montreal hopes the return of quarterback Davis Alexander will end a run of back-to-back losses, knocking its record to 3-2. The defending Grey Cup champ Argos are even more desperate for a win, at 1-4 to start the season. Canada soccer star Olivia Smith has become the most expensive player in women's soccer history. Arsenal signed the forward from Whitby, Ontario, at a reported £1 million. Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark will miss the WNBA's All-Star Weekend with a right groin injury. The hoop star was hurt Tuesday night in the final minute of the team's win over the Connecticut Sun. And the Washington Commanders are adding the NFL's active sacks leader roughly a week before training camp opens. The Associated Press reports the Commanders have signed Von Miller to a 1-year contract after he was cut by Buffalo in March. From the Canadian Press, I'm Jason White.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.